Yes.
Good afternoon. I call to order the May 14th, 2020 meeting of the Sacramento Regional
Solid Waste Authority, and want to thank those who have joined us here in chambers, and certainly colleagues and others that are joining via teleconference. And so with that, we'll go ahead and call roll to establish a quorum, and then I'll have Renee read into the record some announcements, and we'll move into the agenda. Very good.
Good afternoon, Directors Warren, Carr,
Here.
Frost,
Here.
Kennedy,
Here.
Guetta,
Here.
Peters, Mr. Tolley.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Very good. Okay, Renee, if you want to read into the record the information
Yes.
to public comment, please.
In compliance with the directives of the county, state, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, this meeting is live streamed and closed to the public. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. Members of the public are encouraged to submit public comments electronically. Public comments will be distributed to the members of the board and filed in the meeting record. Public comments may be related to a specific agenda item number or for a matter that is not posted on the agenda, referred to as an off-an-item agenda. This meeting of the Solid Waste Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will replay Saturday, May 16th at 4 p.m. and again Sunday, May 17th at 4 p.m. on Channel 14.
Very good. Thank you, Renee, for that. We do have a few folks in the chambers, and if those on the phone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
of the United States
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you all for participating. All right. With that, do we have any additions to the agenda, Renee, or are we just going to, or any deletions?
No,
Okay, all right. So with that, then we will go into our posted agenda. We do have some public comments, and we'll note those for the record here in a moment on some of the items. So we have consent matters 2 and 3, which are
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, you missed item 1. The
or
gentleman.
reports. That's right. We don't want to miss that. So we got Mr. Israel. Tim, maybe really short. Sorry.
Yes.
I didn't mean to abbreviate that much. So.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Director
All right.
Natoli. Tim Israel, SWA staff. I'm filling in for Doug Sloan today, who's under the weather. Just want to give you a few quick updates. COVID-19 impacts, obviously, huge impact on our businesses, and that has resulted in significant drop in commercial tonnage out in our business community. So material recovery facilities have also been impacted. They're all up and running, but running at lower efficiencies. And Cal Recycle has also confirmed that solid waste and recycling services are an essential infrastructure, and at this point they haven't indicated that there'd be any reductions in recycling requirements or extensions of SB 1383. Wanted to give you just a very quick update on our organics program, our procurement for the city of Sacramento, the county, and the city of Folsom. SWA has helped support that effort through funding for consulting to support the evaluation of those proposals. Received a total of 8 proposals. 5 of those were near-term. 3 of them were long-term proposals. At this point, all of the near-term proposals did propose composting-type technologies. And so currently we are in the final stages of negotiating agreements, both us and the city, as far as long 5 to 10 year agreements for organics processing. SWA dissolution update. Basically, we are working very hard at incorporating SWA code into both county and city code. The City Law and Ledge Committee heard about this on the 28th of April. Currently, the city attorney is working on it. We expect to have final draft code to law and ledge for the city by the by summertime. City council will review the final code in the fall and approve it, and county board of supervisor adoption in spring of next year. So we've executed a contract with the city to support their administrative costs. The city has posted an advertisement and is in process of hiring a program manager to run their program. And we're deep into planning for future reporting system requirements for our commercial generators.
If I could, and just while you're on that point, and we can come back to it during budget, but so if I understand from the budget documents, which are later in our agenda, we have about $480,000, nearly $500,000 between city and county plotted towards the dissolution activities. Is that money that we would not have otherwise have spent, or would that have gone to the member jurisdiction anyway for their use in other fashion? I'm curious, Tim.
We can talk about it in the budget, but a significant portion of it is money that goes to the improvement of city facilities to accommodate new staff.
Okay, so but I mean, it would have been money that would have gone to the city.
Some of the money would have. Some of it we would have had to spend on, for example, the computer systems, newer computer systems.
The tracking portion.
Tracking not only revenue and tonnage, but inspections and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And so it's an impact probably to the county of $100,000 to $200,000 in
Okay.
revenue.
In revenue that might have otherwise been divided between the two parties.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk more about the budget. I was just curious as you touched on it, though, because you actually talk about the activities which are explicit in the line items in the budget. But I just, while you were giving the report, I thought I'd ask a question. Okay.
And then finally, the Sacramento Conservation Corps continues to pick up illegal dumping in the rural areas. So you can see where we collected 6.5 tons of material over 12 days this last month.
Okay.
That is my report. Any questions?
Okay, let me turn to members that are on the phone. Any questions regarding the general manager's report in the item? All right, hearing none. Do we have any other public comments, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Very good. Okay, well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate the update. And just of note, too, are the Conservation Corps continuing their activities even during the pandemic? Have they found a way to continue to do the cleanup?
Yes.
They are, okay.
Yes.
Good. And I would just note, I know there were a couple locations that I was familiar with that, probably hadn't seen a cleanup in a lot of years, and it made a big difference, certainly along those corridors in the rural areas. So again, thanks for the efforts. Okay, if there's nothing further, then we will then now move to the consent calendars, item 1 and 2. There's information in the packet, and items 2 and 3, I'm sorry.
I'll move consent, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion. We have a second?
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Guerra, City of Sacramento.
Yeah, thank you.
Kennedy, second.
Okay, we got a motion, 2 seconds. I think Kennedy got in just before Frost on the second, but we'll get her on the next motion. So, all righty, very good. If there's nothing further, and we had no public comments?
No, sir.
Okay, all righty. So, noting anybody here in the audience wish to address it? No. Okay, then roll call vote, please, Renee.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Warren? Carr?
Aye.
Frost?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Natoli?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
And Guerra?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Unanimous vote. Okay. All righty. That then takes us into our discussion items. Item 4, which is the temporary waiver of penalties for franchisees because of disturbances to the recycling industry due to the novel coronavirus. So is this Mr. Israel going to handle this one?
Yes, thank you. So as we're all aware, and we just discussed, the coronavirus has had significant impacts on our commercial generators and our haulers. And so as staff, we wanted to basically look into what we thought would be a prudent relief for our franchisees. And so with that said, what we propose is to reduce or basically suspend the recycling incentive fees for the second and third quarters of this year. So basically it'd be retroactive back to the beginning of this quarter, and it would extend through October or through September. My apologies. So this proposal would not suspend any recycling programs. It does not relieve the franchisees of franchisees or penalties associated with late payment. We do not intend this to last any longer than the 6 months. Our intention here is to allow our haulers to adjust to the new realities of the business world, which we really don't know where all of this is going. And so we're hopeful that we would give the franchisees this relief for 6 months, and then we would go back to conducting our essential business, essentially. We have a couple public comments, and those are associated with the impacts this will have on C&D volumes that will be received, and the concern there is that franchisees make up to get to their 30% diversion rate. They will use C&D to get up to that volume when their regular recycling doesn't quite get there. And so the concern is we'll see an immediate impact on C&D volumes. Staff recognizes that that is an issue, but at this time we don't think it's prudent to continue to assess the incentive fee on missed recycling.
Thanks, Tim. We do have 3 written communications, and Mr. Israel and his comments summarized. I will read those into the record. They're not lengthy in a moment, but let me see if there's questions or comments from board members, and then I'll go to the record with the comments that we've received thus far. So, members of the board, any questions? All right, hearing none, then I'll bring it back and take a brief moment here to run through the email communications. The first one in the packet I have here is from Mr. Abel Pereira on behalf of Zanker Road Resource Management, doing business as Florin Perkins Public Disposal Site in Green Waste of Sacramento. In his letter, he says, "We feel that it is fair to issue a waiver of penalties for franchisees who fall short of the 30% diversion mandate. However, there should be a mechanism in place to assure that the franchisee is making a reasonable effort to direct recyclable loads to material recovery facilities that are accepting such materials. For example, there are 3 SWA certified C&D processing facilities open and accepting C&D debris and commercially generated waste for processing. This temporary waiver shouldn't allow franchise haulers to direct a majority of or all of their collected materials directly to a landfill as a cost-saving measure. It should be noted that commercially generated recyclables have dropped significantly, but so has commercially generated residuals. A study should be conducted immediately after the second quarter diversion reports are submitted to determine if the waiver should continue through the third quarter and to assure franchisees are not taking advantage of the situation. Submitted by Mr. Pereira on behalf of Zanker Recycling. The second communication is from Jeff Mills, L&D Landfill, dated today, and says L&D has operated a C&D material, this is on behalf of L&D Landfill, has operated a C&D material recycling facility, MRF, since 2008. While state and local building codes require certain C&D materials to be recycled through the MRF, historically this is not enough to justify running the facility. This became clear in 2009 when the Solid Waste Authority, SWA, waived the fines associated with the 30% diversion mandate. During the waiver, franchise haulers did not need to recycle their drop box tonnage to offset their commercial front load material, resulting in landfilling of the C&D and commercial drop box loads that would have been recycled to meet the 30% mandate. When the fines associated with the diversion mandate were reinstituted in 2015, MRF volumes rose considerably, and local C&D MRF facilities were able to run at efficient levels. Recycling is expensive. Solid waste facilities that have invested in the infrastructure necessary to provide the recycling services that make it possible for jurisdictions to meet state mandates need those jurisdictions to continue to encourage and, most importantly, enforce those requirements. Without enforcement, there is no incentive to recycle. Recycling facilities are underutilized or closed, thereby compromising the ability of communities to meet current and future mandates and placing significant investment at risk. This is what happened the last time penalties were waived. L&D understands the intent of the SWA temporary waiver in response to the changes in commercial volumes as a result of the COVID-19 restrictions. As a result, we will remain neutral on the current proposal. However, L&D Landfill would strongly oppose a waiver of penalties for franchisees who do not meet their 30% diversion mandates once the, quote, shelter-in-place, end of quote, requirements related to COVID-19 have been lifted. This would lead recycling facilities to close or run at reduced capacity with attendant underuse or loss of capital assets, the investment of which is significant, not to mention the resultant loss of jobs, as otherwise recyclable material is landfilled. And that's submitted from Mike Lean and Jeff Mills, L&D Landfill. Lastly, we have a third communication to the board of directors from Joseph Catallago, representing Waste Management. Dear Board of Directors, thank you for the opportunity to provide our comments regarding Agenda Item 4, the consideration of a temporary waiver of diversion penalties. We would like to thank the SWA staff for meeting with us in the continuous open dialogue during the shelter-in-place directives. We are appreciative of this partnership and the consideration of the SWA board to provide temporary relief to the franchise haulers. COVID-19 has had an impact on our business, our employees, customers, and community. As an essential service, our top priority has been the safety of our employees so that they can continue to serve, provide solutions, and support our customers. And I'll summarize here. We talked about protections for the employees, including the shelter-in-place directives that Waste Management immediately put into place to protect and support their employees, adhering to the latest information from the CDC and OSHA, prioritizing social distancing, internal processes, safety, including sanitizers, masks, PPEs for drivers and MRF workers, and provision of remote work options. And in serving their customers, they also point out that local businesses have suspended, reduced, and canceled service. Proactive outbound calls. Waste Management is right-sizing commercial customers, provide the services to the customers that need at this time. They continue to support SWA recycle programs, and they're looking forward to developing an operations and customer service plan to prepare for phase 2 and 3 of state and Sacramento County reopening plans. And lastly, continuing to prepare for the July 1st start date of mandatory 3-container system for source-separated solid waste, organics, and recycling material. And again, submitted by Mr. Joe Catallago on behalf of Waste Management. Thank you for your indulgence. Those were the 3 communications. Did we receive any others during the deliberation? Is there anyone here in the audience that wishes to address the SWA on this? Okay. Again, you did a much better job of summarizing some of those comments, but I think they certainly echoed what you said, Tim, as far as some of the concerns that have been expressed and the intent of the SWA staff in doing this for a temporary period of time. All right, I turn to my colleagues then. Unless there's any questions, we have a staff recommendation. Motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair, this is Eric.
Yes, Eric.
Guerra from the city of Sacramento.
Yes, Eric.
I totally understand what some of the recycle facilities are mentioning in regarding L&D landfill, and I've had the opportunity to also talk to some of our franchisees and see kind of the challenges that they're facing also as well. And I'm wondering if it would be prudent if we only waive the second quarter, and then I have a feeling we might be back in 3 months, and if we need to waive a third quarter and we see that there's been drastic impact to those who are participating in the C&D recycling, then we could either continue the waiver or stop it there. So I guess if that seems to be something that the board would be supportive, I would move the staff recommendation with only waiving the second quarter, and then we can see how the market is responding.
Okay. Mr. Israel, anything you want to respond to? That's made in the form of a potential motion. I don't have a second yet, but any...
I see no issue with that.
Okay.
The only comment I would have is we would not meet back with the board until September.
So
to discuss
we'll be
that.
very close to the end of the third quarter by the time we're back again. So I think that is one of the at least logistical challenges, Director Guerra. So we could certainly meet sooner than that, but that we don't have plans to meet before then. Go ahead.
Yeah. Question for staff at that point is when would we impose the fee, or in respect to when we would meet? So I'm just trying to see if if logistically we can do this.
I think you can. Yeah, it would be after that meeting. It's quarterly, I believe, that we look at those tonnages.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, I think that we've been prudent in our local jurisdictions, moving cautiously to make sure that we're not impacting one business over the other too dramatically, and we're trying to adjust the domino effect that happens when we move one policy. So, Mr. Chair, I guess I'd move the staff report, but only with the second quarter of 2020 waiver.
And to consider, and second by Kennedy, so moved by Guerra. And with the understanding, though, that we would meet in September and have a chance to visit whether we would continue to waive or not. It would be very close to the end of the third quarter, so we would have some information and certainly know more about our state of business, and certainly that as it relates to waste, recyclables, and so forth. So, okay, that is a motion.
Correct, and I'd ask to...
Okay. Motion and a second. Do I have other comments from board members? All right. Hearing none, then. Any public comments have come through?
No,
for
sir.
those that may be viewing this? Anyone in the audience? All right. Seeing none, then. The motion is then to support staff recommendation to waive, with the exception of waiving only for the second quarter, and with some understanding that we will revisit third quarter implications in either waiving or not at our September 2020 meeting. So, all right. With that, then, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Absolutely. Directors Warren, Carr,
Aye.
Frost,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Gitta,
Aye?
Peters,
Aye.
and Natoli.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, then moving down our agenda to item 5 is a presentation, and this relates to Cal State University Sacramento's pyrolysis organic waste disposal pilot presentation. So, anybody want to introduce this, Tim, before we get our presenter?
Yes.
Right.
Metro Cable.
PowerPoint?
Yeah, what happened? I didn't even realize it.
There they go.
Well, yeah,
It's
I
coming.
think,
It's
I think our folks are going to work. There's the magic right
there
there.
it is.
All you need to do is ask.
I brought it on paper if everybody wanted to huddle around. So,
Thanks, Ryan.
so thank you for allowing me to present to the board. We had started down this path before.
Tell us who you are. And who
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Ryan Todd. I am the Director of Energy and Sustainability at Sac State down the road. And again, thanks for letting me do this presentation. We had started down the path for this project before COVID-19, but the campus still feels like this is priority enough to still have the conversation with SWA and hopefully receive and file this so that we can continue to have the conversation moving forward.
Great. Well, thanks, Ryan, for being here today, and we look forward to your presentation. So go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so in regards to different types of legislation, those as well as goals are Sac State's main drivers, and a lot of those goals and mandates are not just goals and mandates for Sacramento State. They're statewide goals and mandates, as well as Sacramento goals and mandates. So some of the big ones that are our main drivers are AB 1826, which I'm sure everyone here is pretty familiar with. The City of Sacramento's 2040 zero waste goals, and then the Mayor's Commission on Climate Change has a 50% reduction in food waste by 2025 and a 75% reduction in 2030. And again, these goals and mandates, they've been around for a little while, most of them, but we don't see them going away anytime soon. And so we are looking at some options to be able to address a need that the campus has that would also be a need that the city and the state would have as far as organic waste disposal. So just a quick overview. This is what Sac State's organic waste organic waste processing looks like. On campus, we have windrow composting, which we handle a lot of our landscape waste through. It's really just a static row. Doesn't have any food waste, but a lot of our tree leaves, grass clippings and things come through that process. We have vermicomposting, which handles a substantial amount of our food waste, primarily pre-consumer food waste. And then until about a year and a half ago, we used a local anaerobic digester for much of our post-consumer food waste. And so that really is kind of the focus of our pyrolysis project that we're looking at doing, because now that we don't really have an avenue to be able to send our post-consumer food waste, we're trying to figure out what to do with it that doesn't include sending it to a digester that's say 2 hours away or for something local. And so that's where the pyrolysis system comes into place. And so what is pyrolysis? So pyrolysis is the process of thermochemical conversion of biomass in an oxygen-limited environment, and it produces biochar and a little bit of flammable gas. About 6 or 8 months ago, I had the opportunity to go out to Connecticut to meet with a company who has been focused on pyrolysis. That company was called Biomass Controls. And so just a slight background on Biomass Controls. They started through a partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They focused on getting systems to third world or disadvantaged countries that don't have sewer systems similar to the U.S. And so these systems were easy to set up, and they were able to go in and take the sewage and create biochar. And in that case, it was water because there was a lot of fluid in it. But what they did after that is they said, well, we've been able to do that in other countries. How can we apply that here in the U.S.? And so they started looking at organic waste as a potential. And so they have one set up again in Connecticut on the East Coast that they're working with a pig farm to be able to process some of the waste there. But they don't have any out on the West Coast. And so we started down the conversation of potentially bringing that to Sac State to do a pilot project and see if we can get it to solve some of our organic waste problems. Some of the pros and cons to the pyrolysis system, organic waste, sludge is one of the main byproducts from anaerobic digestion. And so one of the nice things about pyrolysis is there's no sludge waste because what goes in, the two things that come out are biochar, and I'll get to what biochar is in a second, and then a little bit of flammable gas. And that's really it, which is quite nice. Another pro would be these systems could actually have sludge waste from an anaerobic digester as an input. And so it could potentially be something additional that could be used as well as anaerobic digestion to be able to solve one of the the things that we struggle with as an industry with that. Some of the other pros that are quite nice, the system can handle utensils. So, I think most people in here are familiar that we have compostable utensils. Well, in reality, those really aren't compostable because most anaerobic digesters, for example, can't handle that. And then the traditional composting methods, it just takes too long for those to break down. So those things can go through a pyrolysis system as well. And so it kind of opens up the opportunity to really have compostable utensils really be compostable. And then the other thing is there's an ability to start and stop, which for the university, that's really important because, we can have 30,000 students on campus one day, and then the next day we can have none. And so for us, that's very convenient, and then it's scalable as well. So if you look at the image in the center there, that's the small unit that they have at the pig farm that I saw in Connecticut. But they can build up or they can build down, which is nice. And then lastly, the other pro is biochar. So what is biochar? Biochar is a soil amendment similar to charcoal, but it's entirely plant-based. It's been used, to be honest, for hundreds of years, and many farmers, I'm sure locally, but throughout the world, use biochar as a soil amendment. It sequesters carbon, so it helps contain that carbon in the soil so that it's not getting out, helps maintain, reduce CO2 emissions, so that's why we're very interested in it as well. So again, I think the city, the state, SWA, Sac State, we all have a common goal of waste diversion, and those common goals are really driven by many of the state mandates, as well as climate goals that are becoming, the dates are becoming sooner and sooner, and COVID-19 is happening, but at the end of the day, climate change is happening as well, and so once we come out of this, we're still going to have the same problems that we need to solve, and so because those goals align, we are really looking to do this pilot project locally at Sacramento State, and we're hoping to be able to gather research and then look at the possibility of this being something that could be applied throughout the Sacramento region as an additional means of organic waste disposal, not to replace any processes, but kind of as a supplemental tool, and looking at it as just another way to be able to handle organic waste. And again, it has some additional benefits in that it can handle utensils, which is hugely beneficial to us. So currently, Sacramento State has been able to we've allocated $200,000 to this project. The total project cost is $650,000. And again, everyone's budget is in question right now. But we wanted to get this information in front of you so that we can have future conversations, because again, the problems that this is looking to address are not going away anytime soon. And so we're looking for local partners through different government agencies. And again, we would like this to be received and filed by SWA, so that hopefully I can come back here sometime in the near future and have a very similar conversation with all of you. Okay. So that being said, we have an awesome picture of President Nelson, along with my contact information. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, has other questions, or if anyone today has questions, I would love to answer them.
Great. Well, thank you, Ryan, for your presentation. And I know I had a chance to visit with you a little earlier in the spring before, as you said, some of the current situation we're dealing with. But obviously, exciting and ambitious project, but one the Sac State certainly is committed to, and I think other local partners, as things begin to settle out, as you just said, hopefully an opportunity for this organization, but others to partner and to see some of the results of I think a project that holds a lot of promise. So again, we appreciate you being here today. Let me Tim, were you going to say something first? And I was going to go to then I'll go to colleagues on the board. You had a chance to follow the presentation. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, this is Eric Guerra from the City of Sacramento.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank our great university here, Proud Hornet, and always great to see the ingenuity. And I think it's the first time I've ever heard our sludge waste referred to as quite nice. And this product could be quite nice if we can when time gets a little better.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you, Director Guerra, for your comments, and again, thank you again, Ryan, for being here. We will receive and file this and hold it, and certainly you can ping us back in a couple of months, and as things again sort out a bit, and hopefully we can see how this partnership might evolve over time, both fiscally, but I think also there's a definite interest certainly in how we manage our solid waste and organics in particular. So this, I said, holds a lot of promise. So thanks for your good work.
All right, thank you.
Good. All right, so that is a presentation with a receive and file. I don't think we need any motion. It had for discussion, but unless there's any further comments by SWA board members, we'll receive and file, and we'll move down to the next item. Any public comment on this?
No, sir.
Okay, good. All right, and then let's leaving item 5. Go to item 6, the adoption of the fiscal year 2020-2021 proposed budget. So we have a presenter. All right.
A short presentation. So if Metro has that one, it's the last one for item 6, fiscal year 2021 proposed budget.
There it is.
Fantastic. Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Claiborne. I'm a program manager here at SWA, and I'm here to kind of briefly go through some of the major changes for the proposed budget and take any questions.
Okay, Jennifer.
We're good? Okay, great. So as we've been talking about COVID-19, we're anticipating a $500,000 decrease in our projected revenues. That is a conservative 50% decrease in the first quarter of fiscal year 2021. Moving on from there, we are proposing that a majority of the programs that we have are at the same funding level or a slight decrease. You'll notice the illegal dumping activities. We've spent on average around $250,000. I know last year we had an increase, and this year we're focusing on both 1826 as well as the dissolution. But those programs that exist will continue as they currently are. We're also proposing a funding increase with that priority of that dissolution for city administrative staff and facility improvements so that they can house those new employees at the city. That also includes a portion for technology and a new reporting system that we hoped to help transition between this, what we've called in the past, divorce, so that the haulers have an opportunity to put all of their information in one place rather than having to report to several entities. Lastly, one of the increases you'll notice is $160,000 for our county environmental management department. They do our not code enforcement, but our enforcement of compliance of our recycling and organics programs. They will be bringing on board all their health inspectors, so that will be an increase of inspections, and that will help us meet CalRecycle's desires for us to increase our compliance numbers.
If I could, and just pause just for a moment, Jennifer. So, and maybe this is for Tim as well, or others, but in light of where we're at, and we've had discussion all day, every presentation started out with COVID-19 and related impacts. Has there been any indication from either Cal Recycle and or state administration that they may in any way defer or postpone implementation requirements therefore we wouldn't have to bring EMD into the picture in the same way? We're still going to have to do it, but do you get any sense about that? Or are they going to hold tight? I mean, a lot of restaurants and generators, have been operating at limited capacity, if at all, in some cases. And so I guess I'm just curious as we see kind of coming back, but also recognizing this pause we've had, with stay-at-home orders for the last 8 weeks and not knowing exactly what the future is going to bring for the rest of the sort of calendar year. I'm just curious, has there been any indication that might allow for some movement here in this budget unit?
Cal Recycle has not given us any indications at this point that there would be changes to the current regulation and recycling programs. So, basically, AB 1826, the organic requirements are here. They're already established. They had indicated to us that they would be reducing the threshold from 4 to 2 yards for having to go to doing recycling and organics. We haven't heard whether or not they're going to follow through with that or not. And as we mentioned earlier, 1383, we have not heard anything on the implementation of that program, which would start in 2022. There has been a lot of requests being sent their way to delay the implementation of 1383 and also provide relief on other programs. They have allowed solid waste facilities to modify their operating conditions. So, for example, the Kiefer landfill, our traffic's way up out there. So we applied to our local.
That's because you stayed open. A lot of other counties didn't.
Exactly. We had a lot more traffic, not necessarily, we had more tonnage too, but it was a traffic issue really for us. And so the state immediately gave us a waiver on our traffic counts. Mm-hmm. So they've been accommodating in that sense, but they haven't given us much indication that these long-term plans are going to be changed at all.
Well, and I also raise just a question briefly in the context of, even if restaurants come back up, I mean, the dine-in capacity is going to be limited. We know that. They'll still be obviously preparing food, but a lot of that may be for takeout still, or people will adjust in part to the curbside takeout. We know schools. I mean, we just had the presentation from Sac State, but we know that many schools, at least the university systems, are going to be online. So whatever food prep they have, I know that we've continued to provide, reduced in free meals to families during the crisis here. I guess I'm just curious, though, in the standpoint of operationally, there's going to be a lot of adjustments, particularly for those in the food prep and food service industries, just in their own kitchens, their own dining facilities. And organic recycling is not unimportant, but it also, is additive to other things they have to do. And the tonnage, or yardage by which they would be in or out of the program is an important calculation, because it's one more thing they're going to have to do. And again, their business plans, I'm sure, have been severely impacted, both big and small restaurant facilities. So I asked this starting with the EMD, but it just seems to me it kind of translates into maybe a different way.
And we've internally discussed how haulers can be continuing to partner with commercial businesses to right-size their service. Okay. So, for example, if organics is costly for them during this period of time, that if they can get under that 4 cubic yard threshold, that they can be exempt and waived out of that organics program. So hopefully there's opportunities to right-size those services during this period where they're starting to slowly ramp up.
Okay. But for purpose of budget, then you think the EMD, the $160,000, is necessary for this budget year? The additional $160,000.
The additional
going from $700,000 to $860,000.
So in addition to these inspections, it gives us an opportunity to educate each one of these businesses on these programs and how we can help support them or provide more clarity. So we did intend that they would continue to be out in the field when it's appropriate and safe for the EMD staff to be out there. And having the health inspectors trained and brought on board is really, it's unfortunate it hasn't happened sooner, because it's such a perfect match with the organics program, because those health inspectors are in restaurants 3 times every year.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So with that, though, that's the end of my presentation. The next 2 slides are just the breakdown of the actual budget. So I'd open it up to any questions that you might have.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Questions by members of the SWA board? Okay. Hearing.
Chair, this is Larry Carr. I move
Larry.
adoption of the budget.
Seconded by Guerra.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second motion by Carr, seconded by Guerra, to approve the proposed budget for 2020-2021 fiscal year. Let me ask before you call for the vote, was there any public comments on this item?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Israel or Jennifer, anything else you need to add before we take a vote? Okay.
That'd be it.
If not, then I'll ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Director Warren? Carr?
Aye.
Frost?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Natoli?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
And Guerra?
Aye.
Thank you. Your motion passes.
Okay. That takes us down to the comment portion of the agenda. Any other comments from the public on items that are not on the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. And with that, as announced earlier, our next meeting is scheduled for September 10th, and we're not sure what the meeting format will be at that point in time, but in the meantime, we thank our staff for your good work, and if there's nothing further, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.